7 Steps to Get Rich from the Richest Man in Babylon. It's sensible. That which one man is aware of might be taught to others, George S. Clason writes in his 1926 private finance traditional, The Richest Man in Babylon. Clason's assortment of parables, based mostly within the historical metropolis of Babylon, begins with the story of Arkad, the son of a humble service provider, of a big household with no hope of inheritance, who grows to change into the richest man in Babylon, because of knowledge he sought out from a wealthy cash lender named Algamish. In hopes of turning his metropolis into the wealthiest on the planet, the king of Babylon asks Arkad if he can share the secret to wealth with the remainder of town. Arkad complies, and over the course of 7 days, teaches a category of 100 males what he calls the 7 cures for a lean purse. 1. Begin the purse to fattening. Getting wealthy all begins with paying yourself first. Extra particularly, put aside a minimal of 10% of your earnings, Arkad advises, for each 10 cash thou placest inside thy purse take out to be used however 9. Thy purse will begin to fatten without delay and its growing weight will really feel good in thy hand and convey satisfaction to thy soul. Anybody, wealthy or poor, can put cash apart and let it accumulate, Arkad assures his class. You simply must decide to setting apart a minimal of 10%, and you may be taught to stay without it. At present, it is even simpler to be taught to stay with no sure chunk of your revenue, because of expertise. You possibly can routinely deposit cash out of your paycheck and checking account right into a retirement account, financial savings account, or different funding car, eradicating the temptation to spend. In the event you by no means see it, you may be taught to stay without it. I, too, carried a lean purse and cursed it as a result of there was not inside to fulfill my needs, the richest man in Babylon explains to his class. However, once I started to take out from my purse however 9 elements of 10 I put in, it started to fatten. So will thine. 2. Management the expenditures. The subsequent step is to easily spend lower than you earn, which is simpler stated than carried out. Our consumer-driven society makes it extremely straightforward to overspend, and what's extra, when revenue will increase, folks tend to spice up their spending. It is referred to as lifestyle inflation. What every of us calls our needed bills will all the time develop to equal our incomes until we protest on the contrary, Arkad explains. Confuse not the required bills with thy needs. To regulate your bills, you must change into an acutely aware spender and acknowledge the place your cash goes. An excellent start line is to report all your purchases, whether or not in a pocketbook, by means of an app like Mint, or on an Excel spreadsheet, and analyze your spending patterns. Research thoughtfully thy accustomed habits of residing, Arkad says. Let thy motto be 100% of appreciated worth demanded for every coin spent. Even when you're effectively in your method to accumulating a fortune, the behavior of residing under your means nonetheless applies. There are a shocking variety of frugal billionaires who select to save lots of or give to charity, fairly than drop their cash on jets, yachts, and mansions. 3. Make the gold multiply. As soon as you have made a behavior out of controlling your bills and setting apart at the least 10% of your revenue, put that cash to work. The gold we could retain from our earnings is however the begin, says Arkad. The earnings it'll make shall construct our fortunes. Be taught to make your treasure be just right for you. Make it your slave. Make its youngsters and its youngsters as youngsters be just right for you. Making your cash your slave is the modern day equal to sensible investing by means of your employer's 401(k) plan or different retirement accounts, akin to a Roth IRA or conventional IRA. Due to compound curiosity, your financial savings can develop tremendously over time. The trick is to put aside cash commonly and to start out as early as potential. Behold, from my humble earnings I have begotten a horde of golden slaves, every laboring in income's extra gold, explains Arkad. As they labored for me, so their youngsters additionally labored and their youngsters as youngsters till nice was the revenue from their mixed efforts. 4. Guard the treasures from loss. There may be all the time going to be a degree of danger concerned in investing, which is why it is essential to be sensible about the place you make investments your cash. The primary sound precept of funding is safety for thy principal, says Arkad. Is it sensible to be intrigued by bigger earnings when thy principal could also be misplaced? I say not. The penalty of danger is possible loss. Research rigorously, earlier than parting with thy treasure, every assurance that it might be safely reclaimed. Be not misled by thine personal romantic needs to make wealth quickly. Investing is a long-run sport and the get wealthy fast mindset will solely set you again. As legendary investor Warren Buffett likes to say, it is fairly straightforward to get well-to-do slowly. Nevertheless, it's not straightforward to get wealthy fast. It may be tough to determine the easiest way to take a position your cash, however you do not have to go at it alone. There are monetary planners, wealth advisors, and robo-advisors to information you. There may be additionally an abundance of accessible data on the market if you wish to be an extra hands-on investor. Take a look at a few of our favorite books and podcasts that cowl investing fundamentals, methods, and suggestions. Seek the advice of with sensible males, advises Arkad. Save the recommendation of these skilled within the worthwhile dealing with of gold. Let their knowledge shield thy treasure from unsafe investments. 5. Make of the dwelling a worthwhile funding. I like to recommend that each man personal the roof that sheltereth him and his, Arkad tells his class on the 5th day. Neither is it past the flexibility of any well-intentioned man to personal his residence. At present, this matter is closely debated, and there's no one common reply to the shopping for or renting query. Nonetheless, Arkad argues that, to personal his personal domicile and to have it a spot he's proud to look after, putteth confidence in his coronary heart and better effort behind all his endeavors. In fact, earlier than investing in a house, you may need to know how a lot you'll be able to afford and be financially ready for the myriad of hidden prices that include shopping for a house. 6. Ensure a future revenue. The life of each man proceedeth from his childhood to his previous age, says Arkad. Subsequently do I say that it behooves a person to make preparations for an acceptable revenue within the days to come back, when he's not younger, and to make preparations for his household ought to he be not with them to consolation and assist them. At present, we name the times to come back retirement. Time is your greatest asset in the case of investing in retirement accounts, because of compound curiosity, so the sooner you can begin saving for retirement, the higher off you may be. So far as making preparations for your loved ones upon your demise, or must you be indirectly disabled, we now have insurance policies for these conditions that you could be wished to take into account: life, incapacity, and long-term care. Learn up on how to make sure your wealth lasts a lifetime. 7. Enhance the capacity to earn. The extra of knowledge we all know, the extra we could earn, preaches Arkad. That man who seeks to be taught extra of his craft shall be richly rewarded. Wealthy folks select to consistently be taught and develop. They might fairly be educated and entertained, even after they've attained unbelievable success. Take Warren Buffett, for instance, who estimates that 80% of his working day is devoted to studying. Domesticate thy personal powers, to review and change into wiser, to change into extra skillful, to so act as to respect thyself, says Arkad. Thereby shalt thou purchase confidence in thyself to realize thy rigorously thought of needs. At present, with such a wealth of books, podcasts, and online sources on the market, it is simpler than ever to self-educate. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe our channel for more content like this.